Hi, I'm Catrin and we're going up the Llanberis Path today, and I'm joined by...
So I'm Tom Carrick, I work for the British Mountaineering Council and I'm a volunteer with the local mountain rescue team.
And I'm Robbie Blackhall-Miles from the charity Plantlife Cymru.
I'm Bethan. I work for the Eryri National Park as the assistant warden for Yr Wyddfa. So to get to the start of the Llanberis Path, we've got to walk past lots of houses where lots of people live. So for those who are possibly walking up to see the sunrise or sunset, it's really important that we keep quiet in this area, obviously, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning where people are trying to sleep.
So last year, to help the mountain rescue team really, to try and reduce the avoidable call-outs to the team, we trialled we had this trailer here that was manned with staff, and the staff were here to advise people, and if anybody had a question about the path, its length or how hard it is, they can ask the staff, and we'll be here again this year. So if you see staff here at this point, please say hello and ask any questions you have.
So it's possible to reach the summit of Yr Wyddfa on a bike, so it's a cycle path or a bridleway all the way to the summit along the Llanberis Path. But there is, between the 1st of May and the 30th of September, there's a voluntary agreement in place that we don't cycle, or you don't cycle on the footpath or the cycle path, between 10 AM and 5 PM. That's mainly due to health and safety reasons and how busy the Llanberis Path gets. So it's a nice place to take a break and enjoy the view, I guess, isn't it, and see what's around us.
It's an amazing view.
Really, really nice. And see obviously lambs. Bethan, Cymru, up there, it's stunning, and it's obviously agricultural land, and I think a lot of people when they walk up the Llanberis Path they've got their head down on the path and focusing what they're doing. They don't realise, you know, this is somebody's workplace and home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is that when you're walking along the Llanberis Path, you're walking literally through a farm, and that is a business. That's someone's business, and they've got their livestock on the land. There's a beautiful little lamb over there,
chilling in the sun.
And that lamb is important to somebody, and so that makes it really important that we respect the landscape. And it's the agriculture in this landscape that makes this landscape what it is. And so giving that agriculture, that person's farm, that respect is super important.
Definitely.
So there's things that we can do to help look after that landscape and that business and that farm, and one of those things is keeping our dogs on leads. That's super important, kind of keeping them close to you, don't let them range off the path. If gates are closed, close them after you. If they're open for any reason, leave them open. That's really important. It might mean that livestock isn't, if you close them, it might mean that livestock isn't able to get to water, or it isn't able to get to the field that it's supposed to be in. So, just those two thoughts when you're walking up this path are really important for the person whose business this land is.
Definitely. Very well put.
We have a really special beetle on the mountain here on Yr Wyddfa, called the Snowdon rainbow beetle. It's really, really rare.
Only found on Yr Wyddfa.
Only found in the UK on Yr Wyddfa. It's the most beautiful, beautiful beetle. I've got a pin badge of one. That little beetle there. Absolutely gorgeous rainbow coloured beetle. And the last one was seen on the mountain in 2023. They're so rare that in a 2-day search, people only found 16 individuals on the whole of the mountain. So the mountain is really, really important for its biodiversity, and that biodiversity that you just don't even know that you're walking past when you're walking up the Llanberis Path.
So we've just come up sort of quite a gradual path that just, past halfway, and then you get to Moses and the climb begins really. Do you have any tips for anybody sort of walking on the Llanberis Path in terms of how to keep safe?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is to remember that this isn't, so when you get to the summit it's like, great, we've got to the finish, we're there, but actually it's halfway there.
Yeah.
And we don't get a huge amount of issues with people going up the mountain, it's coming back down. I think you just got to remember that actually the summit is only halfway. And one of the big issues we find with people is we quite often take blood sugar tests of people, and actually people's blood sugar is really, really low. They get dehydrated, so they're just not carrying enough food and water to prepare themselves for the full day. I've almost always got a little like energy gel sachet or something like that in the bottom of my bag, or just some extra sort of bit of an extra sugar boost. Flapjack is great for that, and it just stays at the bottom of my bag sometimes, and sometimes it's worrying how long it's been in there for. And so when you're starting to descend off the mountain, just remembering that you've still got a long way to go. Quite often you haven't got that adrenaline kick of like, right, we're going to make it to the top today. You're sort of on that, oh right, I'm really tired, I've just got to get myself back down. And that's when the stumbles start happening. So just being aware of that when you start feeling a little bit lightheaded is just making sure you've got enough water, because there's nowhere on the mountain you can get water from either. You can buy bottled water from the summit, but they've got no tap water, so you have to pay for it.
And they're not always open.
And they're not always open as well.
Yeah. We've done some work with you, haven't we, Tom, as an authority, and we've done an analysis of the call-outs that you get, and quite a high proportion of the calls really are avoidable call-outs, so stuff that people, if they would have put more water in their bag or prepared a bit more, done a bit more research about the path and their ability, maybe it wouldn't have happened. So
yeah, we get a lot of people who've potentially not understood the change in the conditions as well. You could be down in Llanberis and it could be really nice, and actually not understanding that actually the temperature is going to be at least 10 degrees lower by the summit. You've got the wind effect, the wind chill effect on your body as well. Will always have a really detrimental effect on your body temperature closer to the summit. So last year in 2024 we had around 320 call-outs, 999 calls that was, which resulted in about 200 deployments of our team to come out. And I think the other thing is people forget that we're all volunteers, so when I get a call-out it comes on my phone. I'm probably at work, so I've got to leave work and decide whether I can leave work as well. Get myself to Llanberis, where our base is, sort all of our kit out, because we've got to be prepared for being on the mountain as well. Like the worst thing would be is me having an accident whilst I'm on a call out on the mountain. So we've got to keep ourselves safe while we're out, and that all takes time. We've then got to get ourselves to the mountain. We've then got to walk up. So if you're having an issue somewhere near the summit, it'll probably take us at least 2 hours to get there. I mean, our team members are fit. We can get up pretty quickly, but it still takes that time.
Through the project that I work on in the mountains of Eryri, which is called Tylwyth Eryri, which means the mountain jewels of Eryri, we are working with Snowdon Mountain Railway and Eryri National Park Authority and the BMC to fence off some of the banks of the railway here. So by doing so, what we'll do is not only will we protect these banks from erosion, they're starting to get really badly eroded by the number of people that are walking along the railway line, and then realising that if they carry on walking along the railway line, they're going to get stuck, so they end up walking down the banks here. So hopefully we'll help to stop the erosion from that, but also, given the fact that these banks are right in the middle of all of that suitable rainbow beetle habitat, we'll be able to restore that wild thyme rich habitat that the rainbow beetles need. Cwmhetiau means the Hat Valley or the Hat Cwm, and why is that, Tom?
Well, going back all the way back to the Victorian era when the train, the train's still coming up here, but there used to be a carriage, I think, that didn't used to have a top on it. So you'd get up to this point, and then you'd get caught out quite often by the wind, because suddenly we're on a ridgeway here. And I mean, even with like hats these days, you can imagine the wind hitting the side of your hat and it's blowing off and dumping your hat down there. So if you've got a train full of everybody with a nice Victorian hats on, enjoying the view, and suddenly get to the top of the ridge here, and then everybody suddenly loses their hat.
And you've got first-hand experience.
Yes, I do, and I can imagine those ladies with their, with their bustles and their petticoats and with their massive hats coming up on the train. But even now, when you go into Cwmhetiau, I go in there to survey for a really rare plant, and the place is full of hats and coats and gloves and all the rest of it. Started thinking about the rubbish here was when we went to put in the turf temperature monitors.
Oh, okay.
And we did a first initial survey of the land. Tom and I came up to look at the land there, and we were absolutely gobsmacked at the amount of single-use plastic pollution and just all kinds of things that they were in the bottom of the gullies that had either been blown off into the gullies or people had intentionally dropped off into the gullies. And so this idea came to us that wouldn't it be great to be able to go in there and try and clean up some of that.
Amazing, and that's what you did.
And that's what we did.
So you teamed up with Trash Free Trails and us as an authority and Cymdeithas Eryri?
Yeah.
And Snowdon Mountain Railway.
Yeah.
And with the National Park as well.
Yeah.
So
team effort.
what we really wanted to do was do that sort of partnership work to bring everybody's skills in together, because we've got amazing botanists to sort of make sure that we're not damaging the plants that we're actually going to try and protect. So this is a whole site across Clogwyn y Garner. There's an incredibly important place for Arctic alpine species, but it's also a really important winter climbing area as well. A lot of people don't always realise is how different the conditions can be between the valley and the summit of the peak. So, I mean, we're so lucky today. It's a beautiful day. It's about 25 degrees down in Llanberis at the bottom, but we've come up to Blackhall-Miles. We're just between Blackhall-Miles and the summit here, and there's quite a cold wind coming across. And I think it's really important that people just remember to try and keep just a couple of extra layers with them, just in case something does happen, or even if you're just sitting down for lunch and just being able to keep yourself that little bit warmer. I mean, I'm in shorts and t-shirts at the moment, but I'm getting to the point where actually putting a wind layer on would actually be really pleasant. So just making sure you're prepared for the changing conditions, and just thinking that if you are, again, just out that little bit longer than you're expecting to be, that you can deal with those changes.
So Bethan, you're not just a warden for the park working on Yr Wyddfa, you actually born and raised on the foot of the mountain, at the foot of the mountain.
Yeah, so our family farm is just down in the valley, just above Llanberis. So I consider myself really lucky to have been brought up sort of walking these hills from a very young age, really. And I've always been fascinated with sort of the names of the areas and their connection with the history of the area that goes, past our time and our forefathers. But so we've got like Moel Eilio in the background and Moel Cynghorion just in front of us here. And then just below the summit of Moel Eilio, you've got Cwm Dythwch, and the word Gwyddwch is the Welsh word for wild boar. So it just goes to show sort of what possibly could have roamed here, years and years ago.
An old name as well, isn't it? We don't use it today, do we? We'd say Baedd Gwyllt or something.
Baedd,
but the Gwyddwch, it's
definitely.
Kind of an older name, which reflects how, the old names that were used.
Yeah, and how times changed and different words are used for different things. But keeping these place names and sort of celebrating their history and their source or tarddiad, it's vitally important to our sort of nationality, I guess, isn't it? And part of who we are as Welsh people. So lovely view, and couldn't think of a nicer place to be today.
So I think there's a lot of misconception about the train. The Llanberis Path goes well next to the train track really of the Snowdon Mountain Railway, and people sometimes think that if they are tired when they get to the top that they'll be able to just catch the train and come back down, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. If you buy a ticket for the train, it's a return ticket, so all the seats are basically booked up, so it's not an option to just catch the train at the top. They sometimes help out the mountain rescue team if they can, but sometimes that's not possible because they've committed the seats to people who've already booked, or it's not running because of the weather, so it's not something to rely on at all. So that's just something to bear in mind. If you're walking up, you will need to walk back down again.
So Yr Wyddfa means a lot to me. It's all I've known really since I moved here. I've been born and raised and worked here all my life. So sort of being part of its protection, its conservation is sort of a big part of who I am as a person. And that in part is why I want to work for the Eryri National Park and as a warden. So being hands-on in sort of conserving the area and looking after and sort of sharing that with other people. And that's, it's helped me, coming out and enjoying the countryside helped me through quite some dark periods of my life, so I'm very grateful, and I guess that's sort of why I want to protect it, and that's why I love seeing people come here and enjoying the countryside themselves, as long as they obviously do that respectfully, not only for the environment but also to the local communities as well.
So I've just found on the edge of a path of the Llanberis Path a whole bank full of the most beautiful purple dog violets. But for me, seeing these dog violets is really important because they like really calcium-rich soils. And what that means is that this area of land is likely to have other really important plants in it. So just looking at the ground here, and I've seen that there is this tiny little plant. It's only in leaf at the moment. It's called wild thyme, and that is the food plant of our beautiful Snowdon rainbow beetle.
So we're back down now from our day on the mountain. It took us about 6 hours roughly.
Yeah, about 6 hours I'd say.
We had a good day in the sun.
Lovely.
Lots of sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely.
Time to go for an ice cream then,
Yeah, good idea.
I think so.